Welcome, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, Sim Football Critic, man, and I'm back at it, guys. Another week of Terrible Towel Tuesday. You know, I've been away a little bit, for you guys have been checking in on me for the, from the gaming standpoint. I've been down in Tampa, man. Went down there over the weekend to visit my father-in-law, but I'm back. Got back today, and I said, look, man, I'm a little bit tired or what have you, but I could not do a Terrible Towel Tuesday. So here we are, guys, live in effect. So I apologize for being a little bit late. Again, once the season starts, guys, we're going to try to lock down that 7 p.m., starting point. And if not, I'm going to try to get a lot better with notifying you guys via Twitter if I'm going to be a little bit late. So again, what you definitely want to do, guys, you don't have to, but you might want to check. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you might just want to check my Twitter handle on Tuesdays. If you notice at the time it hasn't started at 7 p.m., I'm going to try to, do a lot better with just letting you guys know via Twitter, hey, it may start a little bit late, etc., etc. For you guys that don't know my Twitter, it is at SimFBallCritic. All right, and oh, wow, guys, and I want to definitely give a huge shout out to Jesse Williams. Let's give him a round of applause really quick. Appreciate that. Appreciate the donation there, man. Whether it's $1 or $1 million, I appreciate it. So appreciate that, Jesse Williams. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got a lot to talk about. As you can see, obviously we're going to talk about the absence of Le'Veon Bell. But the first thing I want to do, man, is dive into the 53-man roster, because I think there may be some moves or maybe some shakeups happening, man. I don't think that this roster is final. But hey, let's dive right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the roster first. Give me a moment, guys. I'll pull it up, and we're just going to do it by position really quick. So we know at center, Maurkice Pouncey. All right, center/guard, B.J. Finney. Cornerbacks, Cam Sutton, Mike Hilton, Joe Hayden, Cody Sensabaugh, and Artie Burns. Next up, we have defensive ends, Stephon Tuitt, L.T. Walton, Tyson Alualu. All right. Defensive tackles, Dan McCullers and Cam Hayward. You guys, just keep an eye on that. We know that now that Cam Hayward is more so listed as a D tackle, where he's, kind of played the end, in the 3-4. He's been on the outside along with Stephon Tuitt, and as well as he's been, out there in the nickel package from time to time inside with Tuitt. And then, normally in the base they have Javon Hargraves, there in the middle along, again, with Tuitt and Hayward on the outside. But it's interesting now that, Hayward is more so listed as a defensive tackle. So let's, keep an eye on how he's lining up. I have noticed even in preseason that he's lining up, sometimes on the right, sometimes on the left, etc., etc. So something to keep an eye on. All right, so again, defensive tackle, of course, again, Dan McCullers, Cam Hayward. Fullback, Rosie Nix. Okay, offensive guard, Ramon Foster, David DeCastro. We know they both play the left and the right. Kicker is Chris Boswell. Linebackers. All right, they just got it as linebacker. It doesn't look like they're having it listed as inside or outside, so they just have LB. So let's name them, shall we? Matthew Thomas. Our boy made it. And I say our boy because a lot of us was rooting for him. I'm glad to see that Matthew Thomas made it. I'm going to come back to Matthew Thomas in a minute. John Bostic. Vince Williams. L.J. Fort stuck around, Tyler Metakevich, T.J. Watt, Anthony Chickolo, and Bud Dupree. All right, the long snapper is Cameron Canaday. I don't know if anybody really cares about that. No disrespect to him. Nose tackle, Javon Hargrave. Offensive lineman, just classified as an OL, meaning he could be right or left. So we got Chuks Okorafor, let me say his name correctly, and Zach Banner also made it. Another guy who made the squad. Was interesting to see that the Steelers kept 9 offensive linemen, and Zach Banner actually showed enough to make the squad. All right, so you got Ali Villanueva, Marcus Gilbert, and Matt Fowler. Okay, those are going to be your tackles. Like I said, the distinction with Chuks Okorafor, they have him listed as an offensive lineman, not a specific position, whereas they have, Big Al, Marcus Gilbert, and Matthew Fowler, as well as Zach Banner, all listed as offensive tackle. All right, Jordan Berry was able to fight off the kid Wild. I think Wild got picked up by Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, but we know Jordan Berry is still going to be the kicker. Quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph, Ben Roethlisberger, Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs. We're going to talk about that too. So I'm just giving you guys the roster really quick for you guys that may or may not know. All right, let's see. Running backs. Here's an interesting one. Jalen Samuels, James Conner, Stephen Ridley, and Le'Veon Bell. So they kept 4 running backs for the time being. For the time being. Let's keep that in mind. All right. Safeties. Here was another shocker. Marcus Allen made the 53-man roster. Terrell Edmonds, Nat Burhay, who's now, of course, is re-signed. We know what happened in his situation. They cut him and then they re-signed him, etc., etc. I know there was some, back-end business stuff that we don't know about what took place, but he was cut and re-signed the next day, etc., etc. So now what you have again on the roster, I'm going to read them again. Marcus Allen, Terrell Edmonds, Nat Burhay, Morgan Burnett, Jordan Dangerfield, and Sean Davis. So interesting to see that as of right now, there are 6 safeties on the roster. I don't think that's going to stay the same, but we'll see. All right, after that, tight end, Vance McDonald, Jesse James, Xavier Grimble. Wide receiver, you got Ryan Switzer, James Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Justin Hunter, and DHB made the team again. Now let's go back down here, guys, and take a look at some of the guys that we know that are on the PUP list, of course, physically unable to perform. Eli Rogers is there. And Ryan Shazier, obviously, we know the situation with Shazier. We're going to miss him greatly. A couple other guys, man, that they have on reserve injured. Ola Adani. Let's keep in mind Adani as well, because we're going to come back and talk about him in a moment. All right, but there's a couple other guys. I don't know if it's very, that important to name some of these guys, but, the main guys would be Ola, obviously, Damone Patterson, Marcus Tucker. Everyone else is, no disrespect. All right, but then the practice squad. Keon Adams. I didn't think we were going to see Keon Adams end up on the practice squad. That's very interesting. Brian Allen, not on the 53-man roster this year. They put him on the practice squad. Javarian Franklin, the running back kid. Trey Griffey, Ken Griffey Jr.'s son. So that's cool to see he made the practice squad. Bucky Hodges, Levon Hooks, Ferriton Hoonigan, Tevin Jones, Patrick Morris, R.J. Prince, and then the guy Christian Scotland Williamson, I believe his name is. The big 6'9" tight end, the rugby project. So that guy made the team as well. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. See a lot of you guys, familiar faces in here, man. And Mr. Bergland, no, I did not forget O'Daney. Allow me to continue to go through the roster. Maybe you didn't know, but O'Daney is actually on the injured reserve list. He's probably going to be designated to return. But let's get into it. Let me see if I have any notes, guys, because at first I was going to recap the game, but I don't think it was really necessary to do that. I was going to recap the game if some guys didn't make the team that I thought should have. But in this case, there was a guy who made the team that I was surprised about. And that was Josh Dobbs. All right. Before we dive into Steelers news, let me throw another quick caveat out there that you guys might get a tickle at. Did you guys see in other news that Martavis Bryant was released by the Raiders? Boy, that Kevin Colbert looks like a genius now, doesn't he? Wow. And I don't wish any ill will against Martavis Bryant. I really don't. I wish the guy could have got it together. I think he's a very talented kid. Obviously we know what he could do or what could have been. It just never materialized, man. He can't keep himself clean. No pun intended, but he can't keep himself clean. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's going to be another suspension, and he's already been suspended a year. So I can only imagine his next suspension, man, is probably at least another year or indefinitely. Who knows, man? It's unfortunate. I wish the guy would go get himself some help, because addiction is real. And some people can sit around and laugh and say, oh, it's just weed. Okay. However serious you might think it is, it's keeping the man from playing football. So it's serious enough. He has a problem. You stand to make millions of dollars because he is that kind of a talent that he could have possibly been a big time talent with a big paycheck, and for the lack of a better term, weed has kept him from doing that. Very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, and I don't know. I'm assuming it's marijuana again. I don't know. But again, just for having a heart, I wish him the best. I hope he can get himself some help, because clearly he has some type of an addiction problem, and it's never cool to laugh at anything like that. So feel very, very bad for the man. And there it is. There it is, with Martavis Bryant. But I just thought that was funny in terms of Kevin Colbert. Wow, what a genius. In Colbert we trust, right? Wow. You get a 3rd-round pick for this guy, and then the Raiders ended up having to release him. Outstanding. I mean, there's no way the foresight was that good. Colbert got a little lucky, but it is what it is. So was there anything else, guys? Because I have a lot to talk about, man. I just want to see if there was anything important I wanted to discuss from the game. I don't think there is. Cam Sutton had some good coverage plays in that game that I was enjoying. Let's get right into it, man. Landry Jones has been cut, folks. Landry Jones did not make the 53-man roster. Listen, I know some of you guys are very happy, okay? Some of you guys are probably ecstatic. However, let's take let's look at it from a different glass, if you will, from a different perspective. If Big Ben Roethlisberger goes down in week 2, are we trusting Dobbs or Mason Rudolph to get us 10 to 12 wins? Let's say, Roethlisberger goes down from an extended amount of time. Or let's not say 10 or 12. Let's say Roethlisberger goes down for 6 weeks. Are we trusting Dobbs and Mason Rudolph to have the team in their hand? Yikes. Listen, I like what Dobbs can do with his feet. I think Dobbs is on an upswing, arrow pointed up, like Tomlin likes to say. But he's not quite ready, I don't think, to be the guy. Now, he can help us get out of some situations with his mobility, yes. But, again, we haven't seen him against number ones. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to reel it in, and you have to reel it in and think about it from that standpoint and stop being a hating fan. You know what I'm saying? About the fact that Landry Jones is cut. Landry Jones, we all know, was not great. Landry Jones was not the answer, and he just wasn't. But, I mean, if your starter goes down, Landry Jones had the capability to at least, maybe sustain some drives, get a win or two, and as a proven guy. He wasn't a world beater, no, but he was a proven guy. Whereas Dobbs and Mason Rudolph, you're taking a gamble. That's all I'm saying. Is it good to see the Steelers do something outside of the norm? Absolutely. And I don't know if people are paying attention to that. The Steelers are actually breaking a lot of their mold this season with some of the things that they're doing. It's not the old, cut and dry, white and black, you know exactly what it's going to be with the Steelers. Some of that stuff is not actually playing out the way you would have thought. You definitely would have thought that they were going to keep the veteran quarterback behind their veteran starter and one of the rookies or one of the young guys. That's what the Steelers have done forever, for the most part. It's been a very long time since they've come in very young like this. So I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at the fact that they are out there willing and dealing and doing some different things, trying some different things. And maybe Dobbs' performance in that game, he played himself onto the roster, because you have to think about it like this. Landry Jones, he's only on his last, he's on the last year of the contract. Contract wasn't that much. You save a little bit of money by letting him go. But also, you look at it like this. If you can develop your young man, if the young boy is developing, talking about Dobbs, if the young cat is developing, and you have another guy that you drafted this year, Mason Rudolph, that you think could be the future, why wouldn't you want to keep those guys on the roster if the arrow's pointed up, since you're only going to have Landry for another year anyway? If you feel comfortable, if you think Dobbs is playing well enough, you might as well go ahead and let him be the backup this year, which he is. He is the number 2. I don't know how long he's going to stay there. But I don't have a problem with the decision. I'm just saying, whoa, you guys are jumping out there a little bit, and it's cool. I'm cool with change. But I'm just saying, for everybody who hated Landry Jones and wanted to kick him in the butt, okay, if Ben goes down, let's see what happens. You know, it's not always green on the other side. Yes, I'm happy that the Steelers deciding to do something different. I love that. But at the same time, guys, let's not act like, you know what I mean, like it's a tremendous upgrade at this point. But it is what it is. Also, guys, do me a favor, man. If as we continue with this, and people keep telling me I need to say this, you know, during the videos. Guys, if you like the video, if you like what you're hearing, if you're enjoying Terrible Towel Tuesday, make sure you show your love and hit that thumbs up right there. Help me out. Hit the like button, man, and let's get these likes up. As I see right now, we're sitting at 3 likes, 2 dislikes. You know, people don't like the Steelers, or they don't like me. It is what it is. What else do we want to talk about? Le'Veon Bell. I'm going to sit on this one for a minute. As you can see in the title there, guys, I said life without Le'Veon Bell. I think it's definitely time for us to really start thinking about that. No more of the what ifs, and what if the Steelers decide to throw the bank at him. I think a combination of Le'Veon Bell, his behavior, the money that he wants, his age. It's safe to say that this is going to be the last that we see of Le'Veon Bell. Oh, appreciate you guys. Come look at you. Y'all got me up to 14 likes already. Salutes to you guys, man. Y'all are the best. But let's think about it like this. And yeah, I'm going to talk about, you know, predictions for the Sunday's game. We'll do that really quick at the end. I don't like the way Bell is handling this. I've been saying it from the beginning. I understand the man wanting to get paid. I definitely do. Listen, I will never, 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 never criticize a football player for wanting to get that money. Them guys are putting their bodies at risk every single Sunday. Their careers are typically short, especially in his position. I get it. I'm not upset about that. You know, I had a conversation with a few people over the weekend, and this is where I disagree with some of the commentators that I'm seeing on ESPN and NFL Network and such, and your Stephen A. Smiths and all of that. Everybody keeps saying, oh, the Steelers need to pay that man. Listen, why are these professionals skipping the real point of the contract or the issue here? It wasn't that the Steelers weren't going to pay him. The Steelers offered him $70 million. The Steelers just decided we're not going to give but so much guaranteed. I get it. Some teams go big with the guarantees, other teams don't. It's just a philosophy. It's just a philosophy. But I hate when I hear the terminology, man, they need to pay him. They don't want to pay him. Like I heard Ocho Cinco say that earlier today, and I love Chad Johnson, don't get me wrong. But he kept saying, you know, they need to, why don't they try to make a listen, they did. They, you know, like the young boys say, like we said, you know, they shot. And Le'Veon Bell, you know, Bell didn't take it. But they shot their shot. A $70 million contract, they just didn't come up high on the guarantees. And we all know as Steelers fans, that's the Steelers. That's one thing that they didn't change. They didn't go outside of the norm. They didn't open the bank up like that, guaranteed money. But the Steelers have a huge history of, a pretty good history of paying their players throughout the duration. You know, you don't really find too many of the star guys that are cut after year 2 or what have you. Le'Veon Bell would have made a great amount of money. He was virtually guaranteed $33 million in the first 2 years. He would have got that. And I'm sure my gut feeling is that the Steelers would have at least had him on the team for 4 years. He was going to make some change. But I get the man not wanting to accept a low guarantee. I get it. And like I see somebody here says, yeah, but $10 million guaranteed. I get it. Listen, the Hawk, listen, I agree with you, brother. That's why I'm not mad at Bell. I agree with him. I agree with him, and I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, you know, but that's what the Steelers do is all I'm saying. Production or no production. They basically gave him the Antonio Brown deal. That's what they do for non-quarterback positions. Whether it's right or wrong, whatever. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying I hate to hear people keep saying they didn't try to pay him. Like, yes, they did. They just didn't offer a lot of guaranteed money. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But let's not act like the Steelers didn't try to sign him. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm not faulting the Steelers. I'm not faulting Le'Veon Bell. Let's get back to the point. I don't like how he handles it, though. Last year, guys, if you remember, he showed up the Friday after the final preseason game. Why ain't he just do that this year? Why not show up on Monday, yesterday? And he didn't show up today. He's probably going to show up tomorrow, which, you know, the Wednesday is really the practice that matters. But it's like, Bell, all I need you to do, if you're going to play on the franchise tag, right? What's wrong with showing up Monday? Let the team know I'm all in. I'm giving it all I got this year. Y'all are still my brothers. Let's go. Dragging it out, and if he comes in Wednesday, come on, man. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of dragging it out, and you're not with the with the boys, and the camaraderie, and people are already kind of eyebrowing, looking at you with the side eye. I don't like the way he's handling it. That's my only gripe with Le'Veon Bell. Throughout this whole situation of the money, I just don't like how much he talked about it. What he should have done, and again, I'm not judging him, but what I would have done is I would have made the team look like the villain, right? I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have been very quiet. I wouldn't have made no raps about it. I wouldn't have tweeted about it. I wouldn't have Instagrammed about it. I would have made the team look like the villain. So y'all would have looked at me and been like, yo, I'm on his side. My Steelers need to pay him. But when you run your lip, now you got a lot of Steeler Nation and Steeler faithful looking at you like, man, you're greedy. You see what I'm saying? So that's my only beef with him is he should have stayed quiet and then didn't say a word until after the deal was offered. Excuse me. Then we could say, look, this is what they offered. Then us fans would have been like, oh, really? You see what I'm saying? So I just didn't like the whole handling of it. And as far as coming into camp right now, camp's over. But as far as coming in, to get started on week 1, why you ain't there yet? You should have came yesterday. Or maybe, in good faith, you should have did what you did last year. Come in on Friday, maybe sign the tender on Monday, and let's get ready to rock. Don't extend it out until Wednesday, because now you're just creating a story for no reason. And it's gonna hurt in preparation. It's going to hurt in preparation, and I wouldn't be surprised if James Conner doesn't get the start. Even if Bell comes in. But I'll end it with this. When I say life after Bell, what if he decides to sit out? What if he actually decides to sit out, which in my opinion would be pretty crazy because you're losing some dough right there. But what if he decides to sit out for the most of the season? Half of the season, first couple weeks. Then what? How do we feel about the team offensively without Le'Veon Bell? That's a very good question. And that's the question I want to pose to you guys, man. How are you guys feeling with life without Le'Veon Bell this season for any duration of time and beyond? And we'll check some of your comments when I get to them. Let's talk about some other things with the 53-man roster. I don't know if everybody paid attention to this or not, but I was pretty sure when they said that Nat Burhay was going to come back, right? I'm thinking to myself, okay, probably one of the safeties are going to go on injury reserve. I was preparing myself for it to be Morgan Burnett. Morgan Burnett hasn't played much or at all pretty much. Just a little bit in the preseason, right? I'm thinking, dang, man, Morgan Burnett might go on IR. Was hoping it wasn't him, so I just kept my eyes open for that. Then I was thinking, man, I really hope it ain't Vance McDonald. Because at tight end, guys, we're suffering right now at tight end. Let's face it. Tight end position, the depth ain't that great, and Vance McDonald has, he's injury prone. Let's call it what it is, right? So I was thinking maybe it's Vance McDonald. I was getting very depressed. Not Vance McDonald. Then I was thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton got banged up in one of them games, I think the third game, and he hadn't practiced much since then. I'm like, oh, man, not that slot guy. However, if we were to lose him in the slot, I'm comfortable with Cam Sutton. I think Cam Sutton can, get in there and play as decent. So I wasn't too upset about that, but I don't want to see Mike Hilton on IR either, right? But then I got surprised when they announced that we have signed Nat Burhay and Ola Adeni is gone on IR. That surprised me. Because, number one, I didn't know his injury was that significant. Number two, did y'all look at that depth chart? Steelers currently have 3 outside linebackers. 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 outside linebackers, guys, going into week 1. It makes me feel like the Steelers are going to make a move. I know a lot of people have talked about John Simon. It would be great if they bring in some depth, especially with Keon Adams being on the practice squad, or maybe they bring him up. I don't know. But it's very interesting looking at that roster, seeing them have a 53-man roster with only 3 outside linebackers in our defense. Wow. What a shocker, okay? Here's a couple other things. Let's talk about Matthew Thomas and what a play he made in that preseason game with the strip sack and the recovery. It almost housed it. If you guys haven't seen it, if you're not nutty like me and watch all the preseason games from start to finish, maybe more than once, go find the highlights from the game against Carolina. Matthew Thomas is on the outside. Keep that in mind. He lined up on the outside. They rushed him, showed good hand usage. Strip sack, ball goes up, he catches it and almost houses it. What a phenomenal play. Brings me to another point. Maybe they feel like, if necessary, they could put Matthew Thomas in a rush situation and kind of use him as an inside or outside linebacker, somewhat like they did Lawrence Timmons early in his career. Maybe they feel comfortable with that. We'll see. However, Tomlin, if you watched the conference today in his press conference, when they asked him about adding some more depth at outside linebacker, he smiled like, it was really cheesy, saying, hey, because the guy said, oh, so you're saying that you're not going to sign anybody else, you're comfortable with the depth? He said, oh, no, I didn't say that. I just said I'm comfortable where we at right now. Let's look for a possible signing in the pass rush department, guys. Outside linebacker, I'm thinking it may be John Simon. Great job that Alex Kazor and Dave and Dave, those guys over at the Terrible Podcast and SteelersDepot.com. Alex and Dave Bryant both have been talking about John Simon for a long time, early before the offseason, saying because of the coach transitioning from a 3-4 to a 4-3, Simon could be the lone man out due to his, his contract, et cetera, cap space, right? Simon does pretty well in the preseason, gets cut by the coach. So naturally you would think, okay, that might be a depth guy that the Steelers might go after. I would hope so. Because John Simon, I would like to have him as depth, a guy, a guy that's played in the league that has done this. We need some depth there, right? Or like I said, maybe it's going to be that they bring Keon Adams up. Again, which was very telling, moving Keon Adams to the practice squad and him not making the 53 makes me feel like they're going to go outside to get an outside linebacker. You would expect it to have to be tonight, tomorrow, something like that, or maybe they play week 1 and see how everything plays out and decide what they're going to have to do. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised because they have made some cap space. They restructured Cam Haywood's contract today. They open up more cap space. I think the Steelers are going to make a move and they're going to do it fairly quick. That's what I feel. Whether they do or not, I don't know, but I have a feeling they're about to do that. So we'll see. Maybe by tomorrow we're talking about a signee, and that'll be great. If it's John Simon, great. If it's somebody else that we think that can help in a rotational piece, great. Because one of the funniest stats I heard today, Dave Bryant said, if you had to think about it right now, Ola Adeni probably was the second best pass rusher on that team at this moment. Wow. When you think about production, right? We haven't been seeing it from Bud. He's been more like Dud. We're hoping for him to be Stud, Dupree. Haven't seen much out of him. And TJ Watt was clearly the better of the two last year. So you would say it would be Watt and Adeni as the best pass rushers on the team right now. That's pretty crazy. So I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping they bring somebody else in. Well, was there anything else, guys? I'm trying to think, was there anything else I wanted to cover? We talked about Landry. We talked about Bell. We talked about Matthew Thomas and Adaney. Here's a couple questions for you guys. If we sign another linebacker, who gets cut? What is it going to be? One of the safeties, or will it be one of the running backs? Are we going to keep all of those running backs, and if one of them goes, is it Samuels or Ridley? It was interesting to see Toussaint, definitely, get cut outright. It was interesting to see that happen. I thought maybe special teams would keep him around, but I guess we're picking up Switzer and, a couple other guys like Burhay, these guys being special team demons. I guess they didn't need him. But it makes me wonder, will we keep 4 running backs? And if not, is it Samuels or Ridley that will be cut? Tomlin seems to like Ridley a whole lot. So it'll be interesting to see if Samuels has done enough to fight Ridley off if there's a cut situation there. Or it might be one of those safeties. Is Dangerfield going to make it? Is Marcus Allen going to still be on the 53-man roster if we make a move? Interesting. What's very interesting, too, about Marcus Allen, man, it looks like that the Steelers are trying to do some more things defensively, just like we all said, with bringing in these in-the-box type guys. And for them to keep Marcus Allen, I think they have, something in mind that he might be able to do, or maybe being able to play as linebacker. I don't know. It's just interesting, man. I wouldn't have called this 53-man roster. I got a good amount of it right, but I wouldn't have called this final roster. Very interesting. And also, there's one other thing I wanted to say. I heard Tomlin say today that, there may be some possibilities for Switzer to play as receiver. He said we may explore those opportunities this week. So that's going to be interesting to see how we might be able to use him. Some of you guys are going to laugh here, and I hope some of you guys don't take this the wrong way. But I heard a guy the other day say, hey, no, actually David Todd, David Todd and David Bryant on the Terrible podcast, 2 white males, they said this, and I have to agree with them. They said, hey, maybe Switzer could be, the white slot receiver for the Steelers, like, we've seen New England do for years and years. And again, that's not a racial thing, and I know a lot of you guys that know me know it's not about that. But we all watch football, and New England has been very successful with the athletic, little slot, white male, and they've been very successful with that guy. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of other, teams are unable to find that. You usually, and I don't want to say usually, I'm just saying, look around the league. Usually when you get a receiver that, is a white male that is very successful, it's more so on the outside. Your Thielens of the world, your Jordy Nelsons, guys like that. But New England seems to be one of the first teams to find those guys that fit in the slot. Switzer, or however you pronounce it, seems to be one of those type of guys, your Cole Beasley type of guy. Might be able to be productive for the Steelers. Would love it. Maybe having Juju in the slot is not always what you want to do. You want to mix in some things. Like I said, maybe you can get a formation where it's 4 wide, AB on the outside. You got your man James Washington on the outside, or Justin Hunter, and you slide Switzer and slide your boy Juju inside. That's a heck of a formation right there. Some mismatch situations that you can create, with a guy like Switzer, if he's able, to be what he could possibly be. Dallas didn't really use him that much. He caught a couple balls there, but sometimes it's all about how you utilize guys. Again, I have to talk about guys like Welker, Edelman, Amendola. I mean, come on. It's how you use these guys in the system and use them the way they can be used the best. And there you have it. All right. And again, in case anyone is, offended, guys, it's not about that. I'm just talking sports. We all watch sports, and we watch certain positions in all sports, and sometimes it's certain guys that play certain positions and certain guys that, of another ethnicity seems to excel in another position. It just is what it is. So I hope nobody's offended by that. But yeah, That's how I feel about that. Maybe he could be a trick guy. Usually good return guys are good yard after the, yak guys after the catch. So we'll see. I think that's about all I got, man. I want to definitely dive into some of your guys and see what you guys have to say here. Let's see what we got as far as time check. I know we're going to go well over 30 minutes tonight. Yeah, we're at 37 already. So let's take a look and see what some of you guys are saying, man. And I guess we get out of here. Maybe you guys will remind me of something else to say. Let's see. Kenya, my man Kenya says Zach is Munchak's latest project. Zach Banner, yes, I would agree with that. You also said they really must like Allen's potential at safety. Something. I didn't think he would make the 53, man. I'll be honest. I just didn't. The way that it was shaping up, I just didn't think he would make it. But he made it, But it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to make it. And, as the roster shapes up, because I have a feeling that it's going to change again. Somebody else in here, go Cowboys. You guys kill me, man. I don't know why y'all come to a Steelers podcast. You never catch any of us at another team's podcast. I'm just saying. Champagne Poppy says, what's a cowgirl fan doing here? Look, that was right on time, right? Yeah, I don't get it, man. I guess it makes them feel better, like they are quote-unquote trolling. It's all fun and love. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Whatever. Let's see. Mr. Bergland 6 says, I would sign former Saints LB. I'm not going to say that name right. Kakaha? Kikaha? I don't know. I probably said that wrong. He said the ex-Saints linebacker. You guys can pronounce that name if you want. Or John Simon. Also, Saints signed TJ Watt, former running mate Vince Beagle, to their practice squad. Okay. I don't know too much about the Saints linebacker that you're talking about. And you say he's an inside. My only opinion would be I'd rather see them go outside now if they sign a linebacker, because I think we're going to need some help there, especially with, Adaney now being on the injured reserve. Yeah, Kenyon, that's too bad, man. He says Bryant's career is probably over. That would be the third suspension. Hard to come back. Yeah, man, I hate to see that. I really hate seeing stuff like that. What's up, Debbie? How you doing? Debbie J says, if Ben goes down within the first 4 weeks, bring Landry Jones back. Could be a possibility. Could very well be a possibility, because that early, again, do you want to hand the reins over to Dobbs or Mason Rudolph? That's a tough question. Again, guys, we got to think about that as not from our hearts as fans, but from a football perspective. Because we all get caught up in the fanism sometimes. I don't want to exclude myself, but I've kind of grown outside of that. And I look at things from an analytical and a performance standpoint and things like that. So that's why I'm not always as upset when certain moves are made if I can understand it and find logic in it myself. So I try not to get so close to the fanism, to where I'm like, oh, I love this guy, I hate this guy. You got to kind of weigh pros and cons sometimes. Salvation Sal Gaming says, sad day to be a Steeler fan. No more Landry Jones. Jokes. I like that one. I like that. Clifton Millender says, it was time for him to go. Talking of Landry Jones. Frank V says, Le'Veon Bell and 6th round pick for Clowney and 3rd pick. Maybe that's the outside linebacker they're thinking of signing. Well, here's my only thing. And I've seen a few people say this, man. They said trade Le'Veon Bell. I've had some side discussion with, some people that I know. Here's the question. Again, we got to get out of the just being a fan and think logistics. What team would be willing to trade for Le'Veon Bell, who would be playing on the franchise tag? So it's essentially a rental for a year, and they can't guarantee that he signs with them next year. Because if I'm not mistaken, if Bell is playing on the tag, even if you trade him, the tag goes with him. And negotiations can't be had, if I'm not mistaken. They would have to wait until the end of the season, just like we would, to renegotiate. So I don't know if a team is willing to borrow Le'Veon Bell for a year. Not saying they won't, because, New England Patriots essentially did it with Darrelle Revis when they signed him to a 1-year deal and whatever. I just don't know what the trade value would be for a guy who was on the tag, who's contract expires at the end of the season. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know the trade value there. What would the team give us? You understand what I'm saying? They could essentially just say, we'll just wait and go after him next year. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what else we got. Steelers fan 84. What's your prediction for the game on Sunday? I'll do that really quick. Remember I told y'all don't be surprised if we lose this game, right? Remember I said that? I'm still gonna go with that. I'm gonna say I think the Steelers can win. I definitely feel like, well, let's say I think the Steelers win the game. That's gonna be my prediction. I'm not gonna be surprised if we lose. Let me explain to you why. And thank you for that question, Steelers fan, because there is one other thing I wanted to talk about. Let me get my notes here. This is the reason why I think the Steelers could lose. Couple reasons, and then I'm going to read my notes. One reason would be Cleveland's a different ball team, okay? Cleveland's defense looks pretty good in preseason, particularly against the Eagles, okay? They have different coaching in terms of pieces around them. You know, Todd Haley, whether you hate or love him, little advantage he could have there knowing the Steelers, right? They have different personnel. You know, your Tyrod Taylors, which whether you like them or hate them, these are the type of quarterbacks that give the Steelers problems for whatever reason. Mobile. And even if Baker plays, you know, it's just, remember when Manziel gave us a little bit of problem. Remember when Kaiser gave us a little bit of problem. For whatever reason, these are the kind of quarterbacks that the Steelers of recent years have struggled with. I know we are pretty much, you know, a rebuilt team on defense now. I don't know. We'll start to see what our team is after the first 4 to 6 weeks. But in week 1, Steelers could get caught slipping. Cleveland is at home. They're energized. They feel like they got a new regime. They might come out there ready to play. And like I said, their defense looked solid. Don't be surprised. But I think if the Steelers come out there and we play our game and we match them wits for wits, I think the Steelers can win. Obviously, I feel like our offense is better than their offense. And if Ben is clicking, et cetera, I think we can abuse that. We can score more points. And maybe we'll win a game like that. I don't know about the defense yet. Our defense looked good against Tennessee in the tune-up game. If the defense can play like that consistently, again, I'm not expecting them to shut nobody out. I'm not the type of fan that feel like nobody should ever get a first down or should never score. But if you can play solid, hold the Browns to 17 points, I think the Steelers win. That's how I feel. Hold them to 17, you know, under 20. I think the Steelers will win. I think the Steelers are capable of scoring at least 21 points against the Browns. So I feel like we'll win. But I will not. Let me say it again. I will not be surprised. And I want y'all to remember I'm saying this. If we lose, I will not be surprised. If we lose week 1 in Cleveland. Just saying. What else here's another reason why. Here are starters who missed the majority of camp. TJ Watt, Vance McDonald, Morgan Burnett, Ramon Foster, and yes, Le'Veon Bell. That could have some residual effects. I'm just saying. These guys didn't play. TJ ain't played none of the preseason. Vance McDonald, we already know he's suspect when it comes to injury. No fault of his own, just some people are built like that. And, you know, the big Ragu, you would think he'd be able to step in there and play guard. But again, you know, football shape is a totally different thing. Le'Veon Bell claims he's going to, you know, he's been working with somebody that's got him in football shape. We'll see. I'm just saying, folks. Let's see what else. A couple more of these guys and then we'll be up out of here. Man Miller says, we always been cheap. But I'm afraid AB going to want more now that we see what OBJ got. Possibly, but, you know, AB know his contract is straight. You know, AB has made, you know, he's had 2 contracts. You know, so he's made some money. So we'll see. You know, that's the nature of the business. We'll see if he's beefing and he wants an extension or what have you. But you got a good point there. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Roland Young says, I'm tired of all of these last 2 years. We either need to let him go or pay him because it's a distraction. And the only thing we need to be focused on is Super Bowl #7. Roland Young, I couldn't agree with you more, man. And we know how the Steelers do. Again, they shot their shot. They tried to offer him $70 million, you know, with not a whole lot guaranteed. It didn't work. And at this point, move on. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be wild, guys. What if they rescind the tag? That's another thing. I wouldn't have never imagined. Remember, I fought against that earlier in this preseason. But the way he's acting, what if he plays the fool? What if he says, I'm gonna sit out a couple of weeks or whatever, and the Steelers be like, all right, peace, and they rescind the tag? Wouldn't that be interesting? Would be very interesting. But it's gonna be very interesting to see, and I'm curious to see how all this plays out. Let's see. The Hawk says Connor is going to be a beast. If he can work on receiving, it would be a smooth transition. He's faster than Bell is. You're right. You know, he's a lot quicker than Bell, and he's probably a touch faster than Bell in open speed. You know, neither one of those guys were speed guys. In fact, that was one of the things that you heard about Connor coming out of college. He's not really going to outrun anybody, but he kind of reminds me, and some of y'all might laugh at this, but follow where I'm going. Kind of reminds me of what Emmitt Smith was in terms of hitting the hole. Emmitt Smith was never a fast running back, right? But Emmitt had the ability to hit the hole. And sometimes it's all about when you hit the hole and you can get up out of there. James Conner had a lot of that, you know, when he was in college. He had a lot of plus 20-yard runs. And again, not the fastest guy in the world, but he attacks. And when he hit the hole, he was out. You know, and it just so happened, you know, you hit it fast enough, boom, before you know it, 20, 15, 15 to 20 yards or so, you downfield. So it kind of reminds me of that. Not saying they're the same running back or anything like that, but that's kind of how I always viewed Emmitt Smith. Go back and look at his 40 time, guys. Emmitt Smith was not a blazer, but for whatever reason, running behind that Dallas line, once he could hit the hole and be in the open field very, very quick. That's kind of what I think about James Conner as well. Let's see. I'm trying to read some guys, some names I haven't read yet. Alan Woodall says James Conner can carry the load. Samuel can take care of receiving role. The defense has played great in the preseason, and we found some more receivers. Yeah, man. And listen, all of that sounds great. If we are singing that 4 or 5 weeks from now, thumbs up to the Steelers. Because what we saw in that third preseason game, to me, again, it's just a tune-up. Marcus Mariota might have been rusty, but I saw some promise. Like I said, if the defense can play like that consistently, they're going to be scored on. Every team is, guys. But if they could give us that type of effort, we could be on to something. Could very well be on to something. Let's see. Let's find somebody else name. Alex Smith said, that's a good point, Kenyon. Tomlin always talks about having versatile players, so that is possible. I think y'all are talking about, Matthew Thomas. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Kenyon. I think they are going to use him inside and out. We've seen it in the preseason, so there's no reason to think that that's going to stop in the regular season. And that could be the reason, man, why they're comfortable with the depth. You know, if he's playing a dual role, you know, wearing dual hats, you know, you essentially do have a fourth outside linebacker and a fifth inside linebacker. So, very interesting. Frank V says, Kenyon isn't good at all. Yeah, Kenyon didn't perk up as much as I wanted him to. And to me, people will always say, well, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. But again, him and Ola, you know, him and Adaney were basically going against the same guys. And Adaney stand out. He outplayed every other outside linebacker outside of the starters. I'm just saying. Excuse me. All right, what else y'all got, man? I'm going to read a couple more of these and then we're going to bounce. What up, Deron? My man, Deron Smith, he says, what you think about the Steelers picking up the wide receiver that Baltimore released? Perriman? Nah, we good. Not right now. I think if we need anything else right now, dire strengths, is linebackers. Outside linebackers is an area where we gotta boost that up a little bit. Even if we plan to use Thomas out on the outside, you know, I think if we do any type of signing, it needs to be that. Because who does Perriman come right in and replace? You see what I mean? I don't think we need more depth unless you want to say that his upside is better than Justin Hunter, which could very well be. You're not going to boot James Washington because we're going to have confidence in James Washington. We think he's going to be special. He's not going to boot Juju. Definitely ain't booting AB. I don't think he boots Juju out of the slot when we go 3 wide. So Perriman would really just be an extra piece. I think right now you're able to get that with Hunter and Switzer if he can bring us anything. And DHB, you know, that's always a toss-up. But we know DHB is there for veteran leadership and special teams. Cowboy B. Bopper, he says, didn't they cut Burhay so they could put Adani on the starting 53-man roster, which allows them to hide Adani on the IR PUP list? They can easily re-sign Burhay since a vet, but can't with Adani, and they've already done that. You're absolutely right. Burhay has already been re-signed, and Adani has been moved over to the IR, which I'm sure they're going to designate him to return later on in the season, which he's going to miss half of the season. So there you have it. Y'all said Perriman is a bust. All right, man, so I'm going to read one last comment here, guys, and we'll be out of here from my man Kenyon. Kenyon says, but Colbert said there wasn't depth at linebacker in this last draft, so it shouldn't surprise anyone with the lack of depth. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kenyon. And like I said, man, a lot of times we gotta move out the way from being just fans. You know, sometimes we in our own way with our fanism. You know, just we just crazy fans. And I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, if I turn the camera around, you guys will see the fat head in the back. And I am a Steeler fanatic, man. I mean, I had to learn how, because I haven't always been this way. I gotta confide in you guys. I had to learn how to get out of my own way and be more of an analytical, more of an analyst type of fan. Because, you know, with my roots, you know, from playing football in the past, you know, I would like to say I have some football acumen, you know, and I like to watch the game and apply, you know, the knowledge that I have. Obviously, I'm not on an NFL level, and I'm always learning from other people that are well-versed in football. But I watch the game with my own knowledge and the knowledge of my team. You understand? Like, I really try to live the culture of the Steelers. Like, that's how we do as Steeler fans. So I've learned how to separate my personal feelings about a guy or a player with what's best for the team. How does this fit? Da-da-da. How does this fit the money? And blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's a hard thing to do, man. But, and it's funny, Kenyon, because you and me are always right there along with my brother Tony. And like I told you guys, Tony is my actual brother. You know, he's my brother-in-law, but that's just like brother. You know, we share father-in-laws, if you will. So that's how we're brothers. But yeah, you know, we kind of just see it different. You know what I mean? So I try to do my best to relay that to you guys as well. And, you know, as we share, you know, our thoughts and you know, and our concerns with the team here on Terrible Towel Tuesday. That's just what we do here. So yeah, what else y'all got? I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. How long y'all held me tonight, man? Lord have mercy. 55 minutes. I knew this was going to be a long one. Y'all catching me coming back, you know, from a little mini vacay, but I couldn't let y'all go, man, without doing the Terrible Towel. So, happy to do it every week. I appreciate you guys' support again, man. If y'all could do me a favor, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. That helps me out greatly. Share the stream, you know, if you're on social media platforms. And let's make this thing as big as possible, man, because, you know, this is a great place where we can all, you know, not only does, you know, I like to be honest with you guys, not only does it help me as a YouTuber, but I like to have a lot of participation from you guys. And I plan on this season, I want to get some of you guys on live. Basically, the way I probably will do it is we'll do it via Skype, where I can put the Skype, you know, in the stream so people can hear what you guys are saying, have some of you guys call in, you know, after the games, like on the following week. You know, I definitely want to start doing that. So let's try to get this thing as big as possible, man. A great cozy place for us standard, you know, our normal Steeler fans to converse and just have a good time. So there you have it. So again, guys, y'all know how I do before I go. Shameless plug. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Once you're subscribed, make sure you cut on that little bell, ring that bell, the notification button, so you are aware when all the videos are available. And last but not least, man, I promise, guys, it will never hurt you to hit the like button. All right? So that's going to do it, man. I'm looking forward to this Sunday to see what these Steelers are working with. And we could be talking about being upset come next Tuesday. But hopefully we're not, man. Hopefully we're saying the Steelers are looking fresh. And we'll see. And we'll see what happens with Bell. And stay tuned, guys. I might do a special Terrible Towel edition later in the week. I've been thinking about doing, I don't want to say it yet because you guys might force me to do it, but I'm thinking about doing maybe another show later in the week, either a pre-game or a post-game or something like that. And we'll figure it out. You know, if it starts to grow like that and the demand is there, we'll figure it out. But what I was going to say is I might do another special if Bell doesn't show up. I don't think that's something that we can hold till the following week. So let's keep an eye out and see if he shows up tomorrow. And if not, hey, life without Le'Veon Bell. All right, man. Y'all been great, man. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good week. Let's watch some football Thursday, and let's watch our football on Sunday. All right? Let's get it. Here we go, Steelers. And we'll catch y'all later. Peace.